Sports Station.
WROCAM, WBEE HD2, and W239BF Rochester. The sports leader. 95.7 FM and AM 950 WGR Rochester. An Odyssey sports station. Welcome into the Sports Bar with Gene Battaglia, where the voice of the Rochester fan is heard. Pull up a stool and join us at 866-4326. This is WGR Rochester, and the Sports Bar with Gene Battaglia is on now.
2 hours of sports talk excellence here in the Flower City. You found us. Welcome on in. Sun is out from the High Fall Studios in downtown Rochester. I'm Gene Battaglia. 585-866-4326 is our phone number. We're on 95.7 FM, AM 950, and always streaming for free inside the Odyssey app. We're on YouTube and on Twitch, as there is a lot to talk about. I said this to the executive producer this week. I haven't had one of my pro teams win a championship since 1986. That would be the Mets. Bills, no. Sabres, no. Mets, 86. And here are the Knicks. For my practical purposes, the first time in my lifetime, I did not remember when they won in 73. We'll talk some Knicks today. We will certainly do that. Hour number 2, Michael F. Florio. Now, you know Michael F. Florio, Sick Podcast, NFL Network. He also is a really big Knick fan. So he said, anytime you want to talk Knicks, I'm like, absolutely. Michael F. Florio will join us here in hour number 2. A little later this hour, take a look at the International League standings. There are, between the two divisions, 20 teams. And they're right at the top. Your Rochester Red Wings by a half game, leading the International League, and now they embark on this 2-week homestand. And if they end up the same place they are in the 2-week homestand, then they'll be one of the two teams playing in the postseason in the International League.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
No, I like the chance. Like that would be like if the Wings are 5, 6, 7, 8 games out. They're leading, Tim. Terrible take Timmy also in his Guardian gear. Why the Guardian today?
Oh, they're taking on the Yankees, and I want to make sure that my allegiances are known that I am not a Yankees fan.
Very good. But then you really don't care about the NBA. See, and I think people outside of New York are kind of getting to this, is that the Knicks are the great unifier of New York sports. They really are. Where the Yankee and Met fan could be sitting next to each other, the Jet and Giant fan, I don't really like the Nets. That's still a team from New Jersey, right? That, okay, great, you're in Brooklyn, and there's really just kind of a small fraction of people that would identify as a Brooklyn Net fan. We kind of look down on them. Did not expect the Knicks to be coming in with a 2-game lead here into game number 3. So, again, we'll get to the Knicks in a second. Matthew Lee Croy coming up. Michael F. Florio. And your calls welcome. It's the Good Smoke Barbecue and Pub Wingman line at 585-866-4326. Award-winning barbecue from Good Smoke Barbecue and Pub, 135 West Commercial Street, East Rochester. GoodSmokeBBQ.com. You played a movie clip. Like, there's another movie clip, like, somewhere. I don't know, if Tim, how good your fingers are, but it is from that late 90s movie, Office Space. And it's the two Bobs sitting in, like, so... They're trying, this guy sitting across from him, he's trying to justify his position, and it's pretty clear that these two consultants are coming in just to do layoffs, and the one quote is, "What is it you say you do here?"
What would you say you do here?
There you go, Tim. You were right on it. What does he do here? What do you do? What is it exactly that the NCAA does? At this point, they are toothless. And really what this is, like, how can nobody would disagree, right? That, hey, you are betting on your own sport. Take a seat for a year. Who said that was overstepping their bounds? No one. I haven't heard anybody.
Is it because he was a senior and that is why they granted this? Because if it was just taking a seat for a year, that's doable. But he's done if they suspend him for a year.
Well, that's true too. Brandon Sorsby is what we're talking about. So I think this is also part of the story here too. There was a judge who granted the injunction. Brandon Sorsby now will only sit for 2 games. Why 2 games in terms of a year? Because that's what Sorsby's lawyers suggest. I'm not making this up.
A town judge too, not like a federal court. It's like me going to the Fairport judge and asking for a favor.
Well, see how far the NCAA wants to push this. So a preliminary injunction prevents the NCAA from punishing for violating its rules on sports gambling. Here's what this really is. Ready? There's no CBA in college sports. It's just a bunch of individual contractors, and this is why this could never happen in any other sport. Hey, you're Calvin Ridley, and you placed an online wager, fantasy football or whatever it was, you're done for a year. Okay, we can all understand that. And I can understand your argument, too, that this is a young man, Brandon Sorsby, quarterback, who in 2027 could theoretically be, a first-round pick. That was until all this came about. That this is a young man that needs help. And that doesn't make me some, bleeding heart liberal or something. The dude needs help. He's got a problem. And his lawyer's describing this as gambling and anxiety. Whatever it is, he's doing things that really you shouldn't be doing. And, again, if you are one to say, what is the harm of going online and placing a wager and saying, I am so confident we're going to win, here's my money. All right, well, the first thing is just kind of the image of it, all right? That would be it. Secondly, and maybe Sorsby doesn't kind of qualify in this regard, but when Pete Rose did it, he would bet on his team, say, 4 every 5 days. And then there was a guy, a kid, who ended up being pretty good later, but his name is Mario Soto. When Mario Soto was in the lineup or was scheduled to pitch, Rose didn't bet it. It was almost like a signal to the bettors that, okay, well, you know what? Tonight's the night we're going to lose here. That's what I think. And it's all for you there in the Dowd Report. But when we watch sports, we want to know that everything is on the up and up. You have to keep it clean because once the trust is broken, then what are we doing? Like every conspiracy theorist that would suggest, well, of course the Knicks are winning. That's what ABC would want. That's what America would. No, I don't think that's it at all. We'll get to the Knicks here in a second. I find this as a big old milestone in the death of the NCAA. We can all agree that the NCAA at some point won't be what it is today, that the SEC and the Big Ten will break off, they'll do their own thing, and maybe at some point there'll be some sort of CBA, and maybe that's a good thing, in terms of that when these stories come up, hey, you collectively bargain, and this is your punishment, and you really don't have much recourse in terms of you're an attorney there for Brandon Sorsby. But no one comes along with that. Hey, you're dreaming of seeing St. Bonaventure back in the NCAA tournament? I don't know what that's going to look like. Hey, you like having your Boise State or anybody nibbling around the edges trying to get into the college football playoff? I don't know what that looks like. It will come down to a point, and the funny thing is that these institutions of higher learning all want to show you the way. Come on, they're like anybody else. They want to make money. So it's a dirty, piggy story. Do I fault Sorsby, by the way, and his attorneys? I guess not. I just find this this is one of those stories where we talk about it, but I don't know if there's really a kind of a counter argument other than, boy, the NCAA is powerless. They don't really do much of anything. And if you think, oh, Gene, it's no big deal. Okay. You know what this is? What's the word? What's the legal word I'm thinking of? What is it? Begins with a P. Precedent. Yes, that's the word. It sets a precedent. So then when, hey, you may be a fan of Syracuse basketball, but my gosh, that kid on Duke was betting. It doesn't matter. Does not matter. Just, give him the 2-game suspension or whatever it is. Now, what could happen is, what the NCAA should do is just appeal this and then push it down. And I don't know where Sorsby goes. As you pointed out, Tim, that might be it for eligibility. I don't know. Like, could you grant the kid, like, send him to a year for rehab, or are you done? Should there just be a you don't do this? In baseball, it's right there in the clubhouse. Do not bet on baseball.
Yeah, I've actually seen those, and in college, you have to sit through. I don't know what they're called. Basically, like conferences to guide you through all like what you can and cannot do. The NFL does it. Like once you get drafted, you go to seminars, you go to not ceremonies, but you go to classes, you go to things that teach you and guide you how to behave. And like these guys are kids. In the NFL, they're adults and they're still getting it. So college has to do it too, I would assume.
Well, they do get it in college, Tim. Like I know this, like how my daughter ran Division III cross country and track, and like legitimately they sit you down, you sign this. You can't. Ignorance is not
right. You're acknowledging what not to do.
What not to do. So, but and the thing that you and I and a lot of people talk, we don't understand what a gambling addiction is like. Where I could just say, "Don't do this," and dude, if you have the addictive. This is nothing new, by the way. There was a quarterback years ago for Ohio State, really good, should have been a first rounder. Art Schlichter was his name. I don't even know if Art Schlichter is still with us on this planet. Gambling back then, you're going down in it's the little sheets, it's everything else. Like today, you would think that you put a spotlight on it, and you make everything clean, and it's remarkable. These stories are going to continue to happen. The idea that somebody last year bet 6 figures on Alabama baseball, walked into a casino in Ohio, like that wouldn't trip up anybody? That wouldn't set off an alert there, perhaps? That, of course, it was because they got a tip there from somebody inside the program.
It's the unregulated madness that's changed the landscape of the NCAA. And like the legal gambling, have at it. But if it's affecting the outcome of games and affecting actually the lives of the athletes participating in these games, like Sorsby is probably by definition an addict if he went to rehab for it, and you're fighting for him to be eligible for it, but that doesn't mean he's going to stop.
Tim, you can't do this. It's like it's a zero tolerance policy. It is. And in baseball, we're going to get to some NFL. I mean, granted, Calvin Ridley sit for a year. I'm sorry that Sorsby's senior year went down like this, but now Texas Tech, hey, it's good that you found the local yokel judge. I don't know where that story goes. Look, it's, to me, your lead story here, the New York Knicks. The New York Knicks, Friday night, that had the look of, San Antonio's here for a reason. Until they didn't have the look of the team that was there for a reason. Holy cow! They yipped up at the end, and the Knicks won a game when, quite frankly, at the end they shouldn't. So don't apologize if you're the Knicks. The Knicks are up 2-0 in this series, and I go back to Wembanyama and Game 1, and it's something that in Game 1, look, they tell you the picture tells you 1,000 words, right? To me, it told me everything, and it's not taken out of context, right? Moron runs onto the court and wants to take a selfie. Who knows what that's all about? And the selfie is with Victor Wembanyama. And in the picture, right there, is Robinson from the Knicks, who looks like this kid, like he's gonna, what are you doing? He's sizing up the situation. His eyes are getting larger. I don't know what this is, but this looks like a threat. That's the still shot. The other still shot, the guy that Robinson's guarding is the kid from France. And he's got the smile on his face. And you could say that, well, that's just him running along and maybe the still shot caught him in a smile. I'm sorry. Is he completely dialed in if he's ready to take a selfie with some kid that ran on the court? I'm not putting too much into that. Wembanyama has not been dialed in. Now, here's the saving grace for the Spurs. Ready? I think they win tonight. I think they win. And here's why. There's a couple things that are a little off. Number one, if I just did the blind taste test, If you're not familiar with, okay, like the years ago it was like the Pepsi Challenge, right? Like, what is this? Is that okay? If I just asked you, what is the point spread tonight? Okay, well, go home court. Knicks by 4, Knicks by 5, Knicks by 7, 8. My gosh, how many games have they won by double digits up until the last game? Knicks by 12. It's Knicks by 1.5. And where do you think a lot of people casually might be putting their money right now? It's almost like and I would love to talk to this with PJ Glasser, and we'll talk about it on Wednesday. Like, that to me smells. That says, wait a second, that's a lot of square money that might be just kind of pushing. They're baiting you to go to the Knicks by 1.5, and this is where Vegas is going to clean up here tonight. That could be number one. Number two is this. Tell me about the Garden tonight. My gosh, Gene, the Garden. It's amazing. It's basketball mecca. It is unbelievable. It's going to be so hostile. And I would say, is it? Maybe. Or maybe it's just like any other arena tonight that and forgive me here, because like 99% of the time I'm with you. Stick to sports. You come to the sports bar. Why? Because you have a busy life and you just want to talk sports. And let me keep everything else in the world out of it. Except sometimes everything else in the world just might kind of step in. And let's just start here with the ticket prices tonight, right? The Knicks, come on. That's a team that unifies that city. You know, Jet fan, Giant fan. Black, white, Brooklyn, Bronx, rich, poor. Unites the city. Except when the ticket prices are what? What did they go up to now?
Almost 4,000.
Okay. I can't for tonight.
38.19.
Okay, then it's dropped a little bit. So maybe that, well, guess what? I still cannot go into it. 38.19. It's at 8,800 for Wednesday. That is a lot of people assuming that the Knicks would take care of business and then you would have the O'Brien trophy handed out. Are these real Knicks fans that are going to be there tonight, or is it the cool thing in New York to do?
People with money for an experience.
That's it. That's it. It's the Tonys were on in my house last night. Thoughts and prayers. Kidding. And somebody says Knicks in 4. Yay! I'm like, okay, like there's that. It's the people that go to the Met Gala and show up on the red carpet. There is a New York that loves this sort of stuff, and this is the cool thing in New York. And this is also part of it too, is that, you know, the stick to sports thing. I just find it a little disturbing tonight that, and I understand why they had to do this, but the watch party can't be down at the Garden because there is going to be the president showing up here tonight. And I understand that, but are you in a way kind of cutting out the heart and soul of the Knicks fan base here tonight? I'm just curious how this is all going to come across. I'm just presenting two theories to you here, because Knicks winning 2 games on the road, you would think they'd be favored by more than 1.5. And they're not. And in NBA history, which is surprising, right? There have been only 2 teams in NBA history that have won games 1 and 2 on the road. That would be the 93 Chicago Bulls, who went to Phoenix. That was Charles Barkley. Took games 1 and 2. That series ended up being 5. Phoenix won, a double overtime game. It was an interesting series, mind you, but that was the Bulls at their peak powers, right? So the Bulls in 93, first team to do it. And then you had the Rockets a few years after that in 95. And the Rockets is a 6 seed that they were always kind of doing things on the road. And they won games 1 and 2 on the road, and they went on to win the series. That's it. That's it. So 2 teams had done it before, and they went on to win the series. Like, the odds are in New York's favor. But is it going to be a sweep? I am saying no. Get paid to have opinions, and that's the way I see this here. Matthew LeCroy is the manager of the Rochester Red Wings. He's going to be good enough to give us a few minutes. You're always welcome to join us at 585-866-4326. Gene Battaglia with you here on WGR Rochester.
WGR Rochester Sports Update.
Knicks up 2-0 tonight. Madison Square Garden, it is Game 3. San Antonio wants to counterpunch. Mitch Johnson, head coach, says his team's going to be ready.
Like a finals game. I think there's enough at stake that we'll treat it appropriately. I think there'll obviously be a ton of excitement around the game. It'll be, this arena is like no other, and the added circumstances will be on top of that, and it'll be a fun environment.
Rochester Red Wings did it again on the road. They remain in first place in their International League, and now they're back home beginning tomorrow. Manager Matthew LeCroy joining us next here in the Sports Bar. On the Major League schedule, everything under the lights tonight, including the Yankees, who begin a series tonight in Cleveland against the Guardians. Hockey resuming tomorrow night. Vegas up 2-1 on Carolina. Gene Battaglia in the Sports Leader, 95.7 FM, AM 950, WGR Rochester.
Sports Talk. You're hanging out in the Sports Bar with Gene Battaglia on the Sports Leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950 WGR, Rochester.
Admittedly, when you first learned about this a few years back, welcome back into the Sports Bar, when you heard, wait a second, what are they doing with the playoff format here in AAA baseball? Oh, I don't know. Let's see. Now I'm all in. Of course I'm all in, right? Red Wings beginning basically a 2-week homestand. Joining us here is the manager, Matthew LeCroy. Matt, thank you for the time. Always appreciate you giving us a few minutes here. And I don't know, it's great that you're back home, but the way your team has been playing on the road, maybe we pretend you're on the road again here. Something like, Matt, thanks for the time today. What would you point to as some of the reasons for success why your team has been so good away here from Rochester?
Well, I think we got some tremendous athletes. The front office at the big league level, they did a good job of putting some guys here that are young, talented, and we feel like we have a chance to win whether we're at home or on the road. But the clubhouse culture here is really good. They pull for each other. They hold each other accountable, and they know we're playing for something down the stretch. And that's, from a manager's perspective, that's all you ask for is that you play meaningful baseball. And we got 13 games left. We hold a small lead, but it should be fun for the guys.
So when it comes to at this level, we know like development is always a thing, and maybe sometimes you want to take a look at somebody for some at bats or a pitch, in a certain position. Where in these 2 weeks does development versus winning here? Where is the line? In other words, we as fans want to see the team do everything you can to win. Ultimately, though, your job is to get guys up to the big league team. Matt, how would you describe that line between development and winning?
Well, I think the goal from a player development standpoint, as long as I've been in it, it's about teaching kids how to play championship baseball. That being said, sometimes you see guys that fans probably say, well, he's struggling, he shouldn't be in there playing. But at the same time, we're trying to teach people how to win games and how important it is to do that, because at the big league level, that's what we know it's all about. Fortunately for me this year, every guy that I have on this team can help us win, and we got guys. We have a matrix that we have to follow from the leadership up top that demands the playing time for certain guys, and they're making sure everybody gets the amount of bats that they need or reps on the mound that they need. But I feel pretty confident that the team we have here, whatever lineup we put in, whether we pinch hit or the guy that we bring in from the bullpen, they're going to give us a chance to win, and that's a credit to the team that they put together here this year.
Yeah, it's you want guys to get up. You also want guys who have been up to find their way back. And my question is about Brady House, because he came up big, for your team yesterday.
Yeah.
What does it say about him? Because I'm sure it's disappointing to come back down, but where is he at right now in terms of his development, Matt?
Well, I think for me, he did some really good things when he was up there last year and at the beginning of this year, but he did struggle sometimes on defense. He struggled catching some pop flies. And, the main thing here was to come down and make sure he's developing his defense. And offensively, he has a tendency to chase the ball inside. And we all know when you go to the big leagues, the pitchers really can put the ball where they need to put it. And for me, just his mindset coming back, he was frustrated, but he has been working his fanny off every day to get better defensively and offensively. And he plays the game the right way. He loves the guys down here. He grew up with these guys coming up through the minor leagues, and he's going to do whatever he can to help us win. And obviously we're going to do everything in our power to make sure that when he goes back, he don't never come back.
Rochester Red Wings home against Worcester this week. It'll be Toledo next week. And for Matt, for folks who may not know with this split season kind of format, it'll be on June 21st. The team that is first overall in the International League gets the golden ticket, and then will host the best of three against the second half winner. Your team right now, by a mere half game, is in that position. Do you bring this up with the guys? Do you want them to play loose? I mean, when it comes to the standings, how do you handle that?
Well, for me, they knew coming in we had a goal. They knew we had a good team, and they want to win. And for me, I think these next 13 games, we control our destiny, but at the same time, there's a lot of other teams that are right there. I think they're just going to embrace it. They played loose all last week, and we won the series against Lehigh Valley, and I don't think that's going to change here. They know what we're trying to accomplish, and if it doesn't work out, we got another second half to try to punch our ticket to play some extra baseball at the end. But this is the main goal for us in the minor leagues, is that we're playing games that mean something, and it magnifies a play that you didn't make, or a play you did make, or an at bat you had, or a sack bunt that you executed to help us win. So this is part of player development that is fun. Playing meaningful games, hopefully it helps them when they go to the next level, because we all know that's just a different animal up there, and it's about winning. And hopefully this 2-week stretch down here and the magnifying glass on every play that happens, it helps for their development.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about Brady House, your third baseman. What about a guy that is on his way up? What kind of player is second baseman Seaver King?
Well, Stephen, I mean, he's a tremendous athlete. He plays short. He plays second. I'm sure that the management at the top wants him to move around to be that super utility type guy. He's a throwback guy, man. He plays extremely hard. He plays to win every game. He's a tremendous base runner. He moves the ball around offensively. He just makes a lot of things happen. And I'm excited that they brought him up when they brought him up from AA to be with this group. He deserves to be here with us, with all these kids here. And we got a young team here, but he's made a difference for us. And hopefully these next couple of weeks he'll do what he does and help us win.
Yeah, it's Worcester coming in, and this is actually going to be 7. There is a I still say Pawtucket every once in a while. I actually have to write this out. Hard habit to break there. But, Matthew, as far as this team coming in, and normally if, like, you have a big leader come in, like, oh, that's kind of cool. I'm like, nah, I don't really I don't want the wings to wing here. But are we expecting to see Brian Bayo down from Boston? He got sent back here this week. Do we expect to see him against your team here this week?
I'm sure. I haven't confirmed the rotation, but I would assume he's probably going to be in there either Wednesday or Thursday is what I think. I haven't got the confirmation on who they're going to pitch against us. But, for me, it's always fun. That guy's has been a pretty hyped up prospect. He's making a lot of money down here in AAA, and it'll be a challenge to our guys. We played spoiler last year, and I know teams that are coming in are going to do their best to try to keep us from playing some extra baseball.
Yeah, for sure. Rochester Red Wings manager Matthew Lecroy joining us here in the sports bar as, it's going to be a lot of fun here coming up these next 2 weeks. 6 years you've been here in Rochester. Is this the longest you've been in one place in your baseball career, Matthew?
Well, I obviously I've been in the minor leagues a while. I've been in the big leagues a couple of years as a bullpen coach. But I spent 6 years actually in Harrisburg, PA, our AA affiliate. But I split it up. I was there from 12 and 13, and then I went to the big leagues 14 and 15, and then I went back and managed the AA team from 16 to 19. But this is the longest consecutive that I've been, and I've really enjoyed it. The community and the front office, they love the Red Wings. I played here. I know how passionate people are, and nothing would make me feel more happy to bring a playoff team here or maybe a championship team back to Rochester. They're good to our players. They're good to our staff, and for me, I know how bad they want it. And for me, we've had some tough years here at AAA, and when you got a good team, hopefully we can take advantage of it.
Yeah, I'm just saying maybe this is your second home now. I mean, like the idea, like Joe Altobelli wasn't from Rochester, but he became a Rochesterian after managing here so many years. Matthew, maybe there's a lot of nice properties. Maybe we can get you here year round.
Hey, I'm down with that. It's funny. When you're at a place so long and you go out, or you may go out to eat, and somebody will come up to you and go, "Hey, you're the Rochester manager." I go, "Yeah, that means you've been here too long." But at the same time, I've enjoyed it. It's a great place to work, and I know they're passionate about winning, and that's I love winning. I played baseball to win, and sometimes in player development it's frustrating because you just can't control some of the teams you have and the people that are playing for you, but at the same time, they put together a good team here. Hopefully we can finish this thing out.
Yeah, you got a great baseball mind for sure. I don't know when it comes, though, to baseball trivia how you are. I host a local sports trivia night, Matt.
Yep.
And actually asked a question based on you. I'm going to do this Jeopardy style. Can you guess what the question was? So I'll give this to you, and you'll get this in 2 seconds. Red Wings manager Matthew Lecroy holds this major league record: most at bats in a career without a blank.
Stolen base.
That's it.
That's easy.
That's easy. Did you ever attempt one, or did you?
Listen, this is a funny story. Now, when you go to big league camp, a major league camp every year, at the beginning of the camp they'll go over signs, for the offensive players. And every year that we'd have a sign meeting, I didn't even really have to go because they never put on a sign when I was at first base. So I never got in trouble for missing a sign ever.
Oh, I thought you were going to say like you missed the sign the one time they were going to send you, and nobody said it.
No. If I'd have took off running, I would have probably got sent back to the minor leagues. I was an anti. You don't get any. They ain't putting me in motion at all.
Well, this is it feels like this is late September here. The way the Red Wings, this should be hopefully get 2 weeks of great games here. Matt LeCroy, manager of the Rochester Red Wings. Let's do this again soon. Appreciate your time today. We'll see you out the ballpark.
Okay, thank you guys.
Thank you, Matthew LeCroy. Giving us a few minutes here. Yeah, that is quite the stat. Most at bats in a big league career without a stolen base. Remember, he was a catcher for Minnesota and then Washington, and you're right, he was with the Twins organization going back a few decades. He's 50 now. So, that's, time plays tricks on your mind because I remember him as a Red Wing player. And you know what else plays tricks on your mind? He's been here. Okay, and it's funny how, he's like, yeah, that means you've been here too long. This is going to be fun these next 2 weeks for the Rochester Red Wings. And, yes, we will have tickets for the June 19th game.
Gonna be awesome
against Toledo. Now I asked him directly. We're gonna see Bayo, which the Red Sox starter was upset. He admitted he cried. And it could have just been so anger. Like he hasn't been good this year for Boston. So Boston, okay, go back down to Worcester, sort this out, and we're gonna see Bayo on the mound. Do we see Skubal?
Looking no.
No, and the reason why, I think we might miss it by a day, Tim, because he pitched yesterday, and it was in single A. And maybe this is a question I should ask Matt. I thought when they redid this, the mandate was, hey, you're a major leaguer, you get your starts in AAA. They didn't do that, but whatever the case may be, it would be hard for me to imagine Skubal getting a third start. That's what it would kind of require. He's not going to take extra time off in between the two unless there's some sort of setback. And again, for Skubal, get him ready and then get him dealt if I'm Detroit on that. We've got some Knicks talk coming up. Michael F. Florio will be joining us next hour. You're welcome to join us too at 585-866-4326. Terrible time. Timmy's terrible take of the day, which I broke the rules here today. We were talking ahead of time. And I'm like, oh, okay, yep, that's going to be good. Little football talk coming up here in the middle of June. I love this. Also, something with the Buffalo Bills I just want to point out here, too. We got that coming up here, too. 585-866-4326. Gene Battaglia with Dan Durham and Tim Schneider here on WGR Rochester.
Straight up with no chaser. You're in the Sports Bar with Gene Battaglia on the Sports Leader. 95.7 FM and AM 950 WGR, Rochester.
It's funny how sometimes the answer might just be so simple here for San Antonio. And it's right in front of you. Welcome back here to the Sports Bar. Gene Battaglia with you. The guy is Duncan laying it out here because, I mean, we're familiar with NFL, film guys, right? Guys like Cover One, Joe Marino. There's a contributor for Yahoo named Nikias Duncan, and he's like, how about just the Spurs run some pick and rolls? Like, that would seem to be kind of like the way maybe just to kind of do it. Just your basic old Stockton and Malone and get Wemby moving down where it matters. Stop having him nibble around the edges. Sure, yes, he can hit the three. It's exciting when he can line up like that. But really, just go inside out here. And as I said earlier, I do not think the Knicks are going to win this in 4. It's a little bit of a warning sign that for a city that's crazy about the Knicks, that the point spread's only a 1.5 here tonight. Maybe I'm reading this wrong. Maybe like the Knicks are going to just do something that is unprecedented in NBA history. Just completely take apart this team. It's an amazing run the Knicks have been on here, but I just don't think that San Antonio just blindly got past Minnesota, got past Oklahoma City. Like, they're really good, too. So, 585-866-4326. I know he's got some football takes here. Let's get to Tim.
It's now time for Terrible Time Timmy's Terrible Take of the Day on WGR Rochester. WGR Rochester. It's Terrible Time Timmy.
Things kind of got fired up about a week ago, right around this time, actually, almost exactly at this time, when Myles Garrett packed his bags and went over to L.A., and it kind of got people amped up for this upcoming season, which is still, sadly, 3 months away. But the draft kind of sets things up. Then you've got a little bit of a lull, then some tampering and all this. But the Bills went all through that and were ranked, I think, 23rd, according to ESPN in their offseason ranking. That is far too high, in my opinion, because they didn't really do anything. A lot of their guys that were on the team last year are still unsigned. And if you want to bring them back, that's fine, but the fact that they're still out there means that they don't carry much value, right? And an article came out today, which I don't know how they do it, but the analytics or whoever is running this algorithm has a 5% chance, which is the highest of all of the possibilities, Rams-Bills Super Bowl. The Bills have a chance to make the Super Bowl with Josh Allen, of course, because Josh Allen. But did they do enough to surround him with healthy talent that is something that's going to make you excited about the team coming off of last year, which I think that as a Bills fan, many would consider disappointing?
Well, and just to clarify, like when you say ESPN 23rd, this is just how did your team rank in terms of off-season activity, free agency, and the draft, correct?
Yeah, just the off-season ranking from end of Super Bowl or end of your last game to now.
Here's what I have to say about that. I don't care whatever ESPN or whoever says about here's what the Bills did in comparison to other teams. Did the Bills get better this offseason? And the answer kind of lies within, do you believe going to a different scheme on defense? That's where this kind of, Tim, like if you're just looking at this personnel-wise, yeah, it's kind of middle of the road. I'm saying that, okay, you brought in DJ Moore, but I'm saying on the defensive side of the ball, what gets you excited? Okay, Gardner Johnson, a veteran who might be here 1 year. Like, what is it? Bradley Chubb, does that get you excited? Or is the exciting part, you know that Greg Rousseau has ability. You know that Ed Oliver has ability. These guys that Can you unleash the power of this defensive line, as we talked about with Sal Capaccio and others on the show? The idea that, okay, you could have Ed Oliver one-on-one against a guard. You could have Greg Rousseau with his hand up and kind of standing. Is he coming? Is he not? What are we doing here? Like, the idea that these guys were not in the best alignment before. They were in Sean McDermott's alignment, which for years with, Poyer and Hyde back there. But the defensive line to me has always, always, always left you wanting more. And considering all the resources that the Bills poured into that defensive line, like, what the hell? And it's easy to point the finger to Brandon Beane. But now, like, whatever the Bills did this offseason, Tim, it all started on Martin Luther King Day. The idea that, oh my gosh, they did it. They moved off of Sean McDermott. And it's not really going to hit you as a Bills fan until you see it for yourself.
Right.
It's the idea that, okay, like, here's the team back, and wait a second, that's Joe Brady on the sideline. Wait a second, what is this alignment? Oh my gosh, the Bills are throwing these we think the Bills are going to throw it around more? I don't know. We're just kind of speculating here. But that's the exciting part to me. Now, to your point about, the personnel, and it does say something that here we are on June 8th, and Trey White is unsigned. A lot of these guys still unsigned. Now, I'm not going to read all that much into it, because if, say, you're Tre'Davious White and you have 3 offers, A, B, and C, and let's say offer A is from the Buffalo Bills, right? And they're all not like, oh my gosh, I've got to take this right now or the money be off the table. Okay, I can live without this for now. I don't want to. I want to enjoy time with my family.
Oh, yeah. If I'm the player, you go with where you're comfortable, and because you still, no matter what team you sign with, you still got to make that team. And if you're not signed right now in June, you've got a month and a half before camp. You better be in shape, and you better be ready to go wherever you land.
Right, but what I'm saying, though, is, like, for Tre'Davious White, he's in shape right now. I have no doubt in my mind. It's the idea that in Buffalo, okay, is it the money, or is it the idea that you're kind of corner 4? Like, somebody that made a big push last year where we all thought, my gosh, this is awesome. Tre'Davious White is playing like he did some 5 years ago. And there he was, deflecting the pass that won the Buffalo Bills the playoff game against Jacksonville. And we didn't have to talk about Sean McDermott's clock management, thankfully, at the end of that game. Alternate universe. Can you imagine if that happened, if they lost that game because the Bills didn't run down the clock? I digress. The idea that, hey, here's the money, it's all the same. We really love to have you back in Buffalo, but you might not play. And if you're corner 4, who's to say there isn't a kid that will kind of wow everybody that we're not expecting, that all of a sudden now you're corner 5. It's an exciting time. The one thing I was going to point out with the Buffalo Bills that is a little bit different is this. And if you're somebody that loves to plan ahead, and we don't have the training camp schedule yet, I would, July 29th is the date we're kind of hearing based on the CBA. But what about the times of the practices? It's always been morning, right? And then you get the Sunday afternoon every once in a while just because the players are coming back from a Saturday off. They're practicing in mini camp 2:30 in the afternoon tomorrow, 2:30 in the afternoon on Wednesday. Now, maybe that will change. I always thought the logic for McDermott was sound that, okay, if we're going to allow one practice now, they do the walkthrough, but if we're going to allow one practice, let's get it in the morning because the chances of a thunderstorm in West New York are greater in the afternoon. And once that happens, it's like, okay, we're not getting the work in. But if you really want to kind of say, hey, things are a little different here this year, let's keep everybody on the toes. Let's have you working out in the morning. Let's have you maybe we do a workout first thing in the morning at 8 o'clock and then get you into meetings. And then we'll have everybody out in the afternoon. I'm curious, like, if the majority of practices at Fisher this year end up being in the afternoon, is that how for a fan would that kind of be? maybe it doesn't matter in the end. I'll tell you one thing we'll never get back to. That's the night practices. The night practices from way back when, and Malarkey and all the coaches that I think even Rex Ryan might have had one.
I love those.
Yeah, those were a lot. Of course, everybody did. They were a lot of fun. It was kind of a show. And let's have 7-on-7, 11-on-11, right on the turf there at Growney Stadium. Well, yeah, the Growney Stadium turf gets hot in the middle of the day, and like they don't even use that. If you're driving by Fisher too, and I was out there for the lacrosse there a couple weeks ago. I took a photo of that and put it on X. They took up the turf, like where the Bills practice. Now maybe on Saturday or Sunday they put it back in. But the last time I drove by there, it was just a patch of dirt. It's like, wow, they replaced the entire turf for the team. And look, it's immaculate. You want it to be the best it can be. These are pro athletes. But Tim, I hear what you're saying. I'm not going to get worked up that the Buffalo Bills didn't do enough.
I'm not worked up either, but are you confident after how last year ended and how the offseason went? Like, sure, the regime change there's a lot of questions we cannot have answered until they're actually out there and performing. But just looking at the roster itself.
Yes, I'll
over the hump.
Yes. Not to cut you off, but am I confident? Like, for the reasons I laid out. It's like you have Josh Allen, you have the offensive line, you have James Cook, and you know you have things on defense, but how does that look? And let's step A. Win division. Am I confident against the Dolphins, Jets, and Team Vrabel Rossini? I know I keep searching for it. Give me a...
We'll get something.
Come on.
We just don't know when.
Come on. Give me an update. No update on that. All right. I guess, they can go back to doing whatever they're doing. Am I confident the Bills will be fine in the division? The answer is yes.
We were last year, too, though.
Right. And the reason they didn't win, I think, was because you had all these guys that, for what we're just talking about, that are on the street right now on defense. 585-866-4326. Let's take a break. We've got Michael F. Florio, who, yes, he talks a ton of Bills with Stevie Johnson, but he's also a Knicks fan. Want to talk a little more Knicks with you. Hey, what do you think here tonight? 585-866-4326. G. Battaglia with you, WGR Rochester.
WROCAM, WBEE, HD2 Rochester, and everywhere you go at WGR Rochester. The sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950 WGR Rochester, an Odyssey sports station. WGR Rochester, Sports Update.
Madison Square Garden tonight, the site for the first time since the decade of the 90s. We have a finals game, Knicks and Spurs, Game 3. Knicks up 2-0. Jalen Brunson, their leader in the backcourt, on what needs to change tonight.
I think playing better with the lead that we had in the 14-point lead. The way they fought back and took the lead is just a credit to who they are. Us staying composed helped us win that game, but we do need to be able to finish the game better. Just unacceptable the way we just obviously just let that 14-point lead go the way we did.
Red Wings wrap up their road trip with a win in extra innings yesterday. Remain in first place in the International League. Worcester comes to town, first of 13 straight for the Red Wings at home over the next 2 weeks. Yankees and Guardians highlighting your Major League action tonight. That game taking place in Cleveland. Hockey starts back up tomorrow night. Vegas up 2-1. Gene Battaglia, WGR Rochester.
Stay for a while, you're in the sports bar on WGR. Grab a drink, hang your coke, it's sports talk. Live from Western New York. It's a master show. 9 times better than your typical host. 9 times. Gene and Tim have takes much hotter than most. No one cares when you're out. Sabres! Bills, Americans, Red Wings, and Nighthawks. Sports bar. For Rochester Sports Talk.
You know, it's such a punishment now for Sorsby, the quarterback at Texas Tech, because he's going to be missing games against Abilene Christian and Oregon State. Welcome back to the Sports Bar. Gene Battaglia with you here. Sarcasm. We're drenched in it here in the Sports Bar. The NCAA, today is the day where we realize, my gosh, this institution has no teeth. They can't do anything. When a judge says, and a basic obvious thing, hey, here's a student athlete who is gambling on his own sport. And the NCAA, rightfully so, says, yeah, you're suspended. Oh, that's your senior year. Sorry. Yeah, this goes back a while. We can't have that in college football. And a judge overturns it. What are we doing here? And the obvious thing is, well, this is what the NCAA gets because they couldn't figure out where, as we say here in the sports bar, the puck was headed, meaning you need some sort of collective bargaining agreement if you're going to pay these football players. Well, then there should be a set of rules that kind of follow with it, and that would include, all right, here in the fine print, these are the things you can't do, and these were the punishments. Otherwise, you know what? It's just the Wild West right now. It's just a bunch of independent contractors and find a friendly judge, and what's going to end up happening with this storyline surely is going to be, well, the NCAA will appeal, and there'll be appeal on that, and there'll be appeal on this, appeal on that. For Texas Tech, they're fine. They want their quarterback back. I'm just wondering, this is unbelievable. Because if somebody bets on their own sport and they're getting a 2-game suspension, that's it?
And it's paid, I assume, because he's NIL.
Yeah, well, yeah, you get the money up front on that.
Right.
So it's not like you're getting a check from the school, as the NFL, you're paid per game. So he's going to be just fine. What does this do for his NFL prospects? That's going to be interesting. We got so far. Say this kid really is a first-round pick. And every year, potential first-round picks, and they end up being nothing. We could go over, hundreds of guys like that. I don't know if he falls into that category or not. But the idea that the NCAA can't do anything. They can't govern. And you did this to yourself. And this is where the NCAA is going to say, well, this is why we need Congress. Stop. That it's over. What, Congress is going to pass all these laws now and just put somebody, they got enough on their plate. I'm not interested in that. 585-866-4326. Okay. The Knicks won a game on Friday night. Quite frankly, they shouldn't have. Yes, they were up big, but boy, they left the door open, and it was a good lesson, as you heard there from Jalen Brunson in the update. To win a game like that, You don't apologize. You just take it and you move on. And I just am, and we heard Jeremy White, others play the sound from Charles Barkley. That was something to hear Barkley just kind of lay out Victor Wembanyama. I expect Victor Wembanyama on this big stage tonight, Madison Square Garden, actually to show up. And the reason for that is, sure, Mitch Johnson is a good coach. It's the guy upstairs. The guy upstairs who, I'm talking about Popovich. Like, if Popovich can kind of just at least talk to this team and help guide Johnson and, going through, let's just make sure we're getting this guy the ball in the paint and let everything kind of flow from there. And then if he wants to take a three-pointer when the team is in transition, so be it. But the offense has to run through Wembanyama. It just does. 6 for 21 in game one. And in game two, all right, he was, 21, 22 points in the second half. Much better, but in that final minute, not good. Throwing the ball off your teammate going up. Like, how does that miscommunication happen when you reach the NBA Finals? And the last sequence was kind of just kind of a mess there for the Spurs. So here tonight, my concern is that the fans you're going to be hearing at the Garden tonight are going to be people that this is their first Knicks game this year. Maybe it's their first Knicks game everywhere, but of all time. Like, are we going to have little signs tonight? Like when you go, hey, this is my first Sabre game. It's my first Red Wings game. Hey, this is my first Knicks game. Yeah, you only paid $4. Boy, the market for this crashed too. And it's an indicator that, yeah, rich people don't like to wait because if you're going to go to the game tonight in New York, you're going to have to go really early. Like that, the pat downs, everything else there, that they're going to be something incredible there. The lines outside the Garden, they're just telling everybody to get in tonight with the president coming to town, who was invited by James Dolan. I'm not going to comment on anything political, but I'm going to comment on James Dolan. That is there a fan base that right now? Yes, you love your team. You love your city. You may really like these guys. You like Josh Hart. You like Jalen Brunson. It's a fun team to watch. They play basketball fun. They play a fun brand. And you watch the story arc here. This is a team that you saw coming through last year a little bit. And then, like they really say sometimes it is a learning curve in the postseason. The Knicks kind of took that step forward this year. You could say, I love all that. I just don't like this owner. It's just kind of a reminder, like, yeah, the guy who likes to, put out albums of himself and, wants to rub shoulders and everything else tonight. Like, what is that atmosphere going to be like tonight? Or maybe it's just a bunch of rich people yelling their heads off and they get to act in ways they normally wouldn't. 585-866-4326, our phone number to call. This week we expect some Bills nuggets here. But when it comes to minicamp, we're not going to have, I don't anticipate, a headline story concerning the Buffalo Bills and minicamp. Like, for example, Arizona today, headline story, Jacoby Brissett will be showing up to minicamp for the Arizona Cardinals. It's only noteworthy because, well, he's on this really kind of cheapo deal, and if he's going to be the quarterback this year, handing off to Jameer, he's way underpaid. But good on him. He's like, okay, I'm going to go do this, and maybe this gets sorted out at some point. It's the Cardinals. If I had to guess one way or another, I'm going to guess no because they don't seem to be doing anything right. I would say that for the Buffalo Bills, do we have a headline story nationally? Not really. If we do, we got a problem, right? Contract-wise, doesn't seem to be much, right? Everybody's kind of taken care of. We're not really worried about Dalton Kincaid long-term right now. It's like, sure. And by the way, he won the home run derby in the softball event, and it was a really good crowd out yesterday at the ballpark. So good on everybody coming out and supporting Greg Rousseau's charity yesterday. Dalton Kincaid. No Josh Allen yesterday in Rochester. No one should be upset about that. Dude gets pulled in like how many different directions, and he's married with a newborn at home. So you know what? Enjoy the weekend. Team has to be back tomorrow. It's tomorrow afternoon, Wednesday afternoon practice, and then Thursday. Now, for Sean McDermott, Thursday sometime was all right, we're good. We'll see you in late July. I'm not sure that happens this year with the Bills because, new head coach, new positional coaches, new everything on defense practically in terms of calling out, the scheme, everything else. So why not get an extra day of work as you can, because this is an extraordinary long layoff. July 29th, the next time we could see this team. But back to what storylines will be coming out of Orchard Park coming up tomorrow. Well, okay, so the Sunshine storylines, that's what I call them. Like, hey, it's your first look maybe at fill in the blank here. T.J. Parker. Wow, look at T.J. Parker and how he's coming off the edge. Looks great in sunshine, looks great in shorts, whatever it is. There's going to be positivity. The Sunshine story is about signing in DJ Moore, new draft picks. Hard to be critical of anything at this point when you're not really kind of playing anything that resembles football that much when we're just talking about practice in June. So you have that. Storyline 2, health. All right, tell me about what's going on. And we've gotten some tidbits here, like positive reports about Michael Hoyt. Who else may be around? Like Josh Palmer, for instance. Okay, that's one that I really don't know where that's going. Not that Josh Palmer is on our bingo card for things that need to happen for the Buffalo Bills in order to be a 1 seed. Notice I didn't say the division. I said 1 seed. Like, try a different path here. Make sure it comes through the new stadium. Tell me about that. Like, tell me about Palmer. Like, what's going there? Why was he working off to the side? Or was it's just a nothing burger, basically, like he was just working on the side because, you know what? Maybe he woke up and just wasn't feeling great. I don't know what's going on. So both between the guys we know that are coming back from injury and guys that quite frankly we're not sure about. So that's another storyline with this. And then, the storyline of how do these new pieces fit in on defense? How or players that are not new pieces, how do they fit into this new scheme? Like, how does this look if we're seeing actual, maybe at some point, 7-on-7 or 11-on-11 drills? Now, what I would assume the reporting structure for minicamp, training camp is going to be the same. When we, by we I mean credential media, go out to practice, I can't take video of that practice while they're doing the drills. You can take, while they're warming up to the side, individual sort of stuff. But that was always kind of a Sean McDermott thing. He didn't want it out on social media that so-and-so was playing with the first string today or so-and-so was playing with the third string. You got to kind of respect that. Now, kind of the lines get blurred there because you could go as a fan and be like, oh, my gosh, look, wow, Cyrus Quandro is with the first team as he was a few years ago. Like, those are the sort of lines that kind of get blurred. But this time of the year, there aren't any fans in June. So in terms of guys that might be stepping up that are impressive, and, oh, my gosh, he's actually getting a run here with what we would think be starters, I would think those rules would stay in place, but just listen for the language from all the beat guys, like a Matt Perino, like a Sal Carpaccio. Those guys that if they are talking big about players that you wouldn't normally expect to, well, then it's one of those read between the lines. Because and another storyline here is, all right, do we have any real competition? Are there any camp battles? Boy, if we go over recent years, like 2 years ago, we didn't know who the middle linebacker would be. Well, turns out it was Terrell Bernard all along. He did just a fine job, right? Or is that 3 years ago? I digress. Left guard is kind of a question, right? Is Alec Anderson going to be the guy that steps on in? Or how about some of these other guys that were brought in? Tell me about Alec Anderson. Are they working? Who's going to be the swing tackle this year? Deion Dawkins and Spencer Brown, those guys have been healthy for the most part. They missed a game here or there, but, who's going to be that guy? Who's going to be at that position? Those are important things if you're a Bills fan. Not every market's going to be talking about the swing tackle competition, but I think we will here on our show. I think like Bills fans are kind of dialed in. Like, yeah, if this team is ready to make a push for a championship, who may that be? I think there's a sneaky one. The sneaky competition is this, and they're not going to tell you this because you're not going to say, hey, rookie, you got a chance to win this job. Davison Igbinosun going against Maxwell Harrison. What is it that head coach Joe Brady and his new defensive coordinator Jim Leonard want in a defense? Because to me, Maxwell Harrison was drafted on one characteristic. That was speed, which one play, hey, you're against the Kansas City Chiefs, and he's running stride for stride, passing complete. Yay, that's what. Well, maybe, just maybe, you want a physical corner opposite Christian Benford. We're not worried about Christian Benford. He's great, right? But will IGB have a chance to win that starting position? I think they're going to give him every opportunity. But they're not going to tell you that. They don't tell you right away. It's going to be one of those read between the lines sort of deals. And sometimes with rookies, you don't want to pile too much on them. But that would be interesting if the Bills had in the second round drafted a corner that ended up being their starter. And again, like as I mentioned, like the sunshine stories about all the rookies. We didn't see Ty Johnson in the playoff game. Remember, he had the ankle. You're assuming he's going to be fine. Ray Davis was in town yesterday. Ray Davis wearing the Bruce the Bat. Did not have Bruce the Bat Dog being a star there of the softball game.
Loved it.
Did you go?
No, but my friend actually umpired the game, so he's on all those clips. And I had a bunch of friends.
Wasn't Spire the umpire, right?
No. His name's J Mats.
J Mats.
J Mats the ump.
J Mats the ump. How do you umpire like softball?
I think
you're not doing anything. It's just like swing the bat.
Yeah, in a game like that, you're kind of just there having fun with everybody and just enjoying the experience. But you could see him making those calls on that diving catch that he did to end the game.
Yeah, that's Ray Davis there and like the rest of the Bills here. So the ballpark. If you're not familiar with downtown Rochester, maybe you're not. Maybe you're listening from Buffalo or from other parts. Welcome in. We're a couple blocks away. I can't see it here because there's a large parking garage in between our studios and the ballpark. But the ballpark going to be the place to be here in the next 2 weeks with the Red Wings. Just a half-game lead they have in the 20-team International League. Isn't that crazy? Like the Washington Nationals prospects leading the way with the Wings getting it done in 11 innings yesterday. To win at Lehigh Valley to maintain that lead. First hour, we were joined by Red Wing manager Matthew Lecroy, who that's somebody, and baseball guys, we've talked to managers over the years. Joel Skinner, I remember, was the same way. Baseball guys can talk. They love talking to the game. And maybe it's the fact that you're with it every single day. There's a game every single day. Matthew Lecroy is always a great conversation. If you missed that, that's up on the Odyssey app. Wherever you get your fine audio, the Dandalorian has it ready for you to go. Let's talk to our friend Michael F. Florio, who just want to kind of get a wellness check on Mike. Is he okay? Are we doing fine? Michael F. Florio. We'll talk some Knicks basketball coming up next, and maybe we might sneak in a Bills question too, because when you see him on the NFL Network, I always think that's the little nod to us, right? He's got the helmet in the back. It's not the white helmet. It's the red helmet. Love how he does that. Michael F. coming up next here. G. Battaglia here, WGR Rochester. Hey, this is Gene Battaglia. Shopping for double pane windows, nothing beats the new Illuminate window upgrade from Window Nation. The new Illuminate windows are designed to offer triple pane performance with the look and weight and double pane. That's because they use Triton Advanced triple pane glass, which means Window Nation's Illuminate windows are more energy efficient. They reduce outside noise by 15% or more and offer more glass area than comparable windows. That all adds up to windows that are easier to open and have an unmatched level of clarity and make your home comfortable year-round. Plus, they're backed by a limited lifetime warranty. And now is the best time to upgrade your home's windows during Window Nation's Buy 4, Get 4 free sale. Imagine replacing all your windows with new Illuminate ones and getting half of them for free. Plus, you can even get them with no money down and no monthly payments or interest for 2 years. Illuminate windows, available exclusively from the trusted experts at Window Nation. Schedule your consultation now by calling Window Nation at 866-90-NATION or go to windownation.com.
Go. WGR Rochester Sports Update.
Knicks and Spurs game 3 as tonight the Knicks looking to go up 3-0. Mitch Johnson says his team will be ready.
Like a finals game. I think there's enough at stake that we'll treat it appropriately. I think there'll obviously be a ton of excitement around the game. It'll be, this arena is like no other, and the added circumstances will be on top of that, and it'll be a fun environment.
Red Wings won yesterday in 11 innings. As a result, Rochester remaining in first place in the 20-team International League. In 2 weeks, we'll find out who is the first half winner. Wings tomorrow, opening up a homestand against Worcester. Major leagues tonight, the Yankees and Guardians highlighting the schedule. They're taking place in Cleveland. Vegas and Carolina playing Game 4 tomorrow night. It's the Golden Knights leading there 2-1. Gene Battaglin, the sports leader, 95.7 FM, AM 950, WGR Rochester.
The best local sports talk in the Flower City. The Sports Bar with Gene Battaglia on the Sports Leader. 95.7 FM and AM 950 WGR. Rochester.
Funny how, this Knicks team took apart Philadelphia. Oh, that's Philadelphia. They weren't really that good. They took apart Cleveland. Oh, come on. The Cavs aren't really that good. You see James Harden, of course. All right, so most of us, by us I mean Knicks fans going into that, how many times did I hear, all right, if they could split in San Antonio, I would take that. Didn't hear anybody say takes games 1 and game 2. Is joining us right now on the phone. Nope, we don't have him. I guess we lost him. Tim will be joining us here in a second. Michael F. Florio from the Sick Podcast, the NFL Network, and noted Knick fan. And Michael, appreciate your time today. And as we were just like this, I was talking how many people said, myself included, hey, sign me up for a split in games 1 and 2, and I'll be happy. This is the definition of exceeding expectations. Unless you're somebody, Mike said, no, we're going to go down to San Antonio, wins games 1 and 2. How are we feeling tonight? Just kind of a wellness check on you, buddy. How are you as the Knicks tonight hosting game 3?
Literally, this is one of the best weekends of my life, right? How could it not be? I started going to a Bills bar in Game 4 of the Atlanta Hawks series. And since I've started going there to watch the Knicks games, they are undefeated. So I'm only taking partial credit for this winning streak, Gene, but to me, the math adds up.
Oh, you don't change a thing. Yeah, superstition, you're going to that same place. Now, are you with a bunch of other Knicks fans here? Has it kind of grown as it's gone along here, Mike?
It has. So regionally, it was me and a couple of my friends from back home who are big Knicks fans, and then, you start to know more and more people, and now we're known by the bartenders and stuff like that. But I will say, this is the first series where there's been a good amount of Spurs fans, and even more than that, there's been a lot of people rooting against the Knicks, right? I don't know what it is, but for some reason, people do not want to see the Knicks succeed, even if it's been 53 years, even if their star player is an undersized, slow, non-athletic guard who if he was on any other team, the whole country would be rooting for him. And even if the guy they're going against, you're going to hate in 3 years because he's going to dominate the league like LeBron did, like Jordan did, like Kobe did, and everyone turned on those guys once they had a little bit of success. So, yeah, it's wild to me how many people are rooting against the Knicks, but I don't care. I was talking it back after the game, and like you were saying when I came in, right, you go to San Antonio, you're hoping to split 1-1, but once the Knicks won game 1, I was like, I think they're taking both in San Antonio, and I think this series could be over in as early as 4 or 5 because I don't know about you guys. I'm a big believer that the Spurs don't know what they don't know, and they're saying things, right? Like Wemby came out after game 1 and said, I just need to play normal, not even good. And Stephen Castle has been swearing up and down that they are the best team in the finals, and they've let these games just slip by and stuff, which is funny to say you let a game slip away when the opposing team was up 14 with about 2.5 minutes left to go. But all of that aside, then you look at the Knicks, and you have Mikal Bridges' post-game interview. That was one of the best post-game interviews I've ever seen. And you have Cat defending Brunson and his poor shooting the first 2 games. And every single Knick is saying the same thing right now. It's 0-0, it's 0-0, it's 0-0. And to me, I think, and I said this when I came on the show a couple weeks ago, that if it was the Spurs, I think this would be a big advantage. The Knicks are battle-tested. Yeah, maybe they've never been to the NBA Finals, but they've been through this group as a whole, lost in the Eastern Conference Finals last year. They've battled year in and year out now, 4 years in a row in the East in the playoffs. I think that those scars create calluses. And look, it's easy to be the young team when you're winning, right? Like, you don't know. To me, the question was always going to be, how will they bounce back if their backs are against the wall? And I guess you could say that against OKC when they went down 3-2. That was the situation. But it's nothing compared to this. Down 2-0 in the finals, going to MSG. It's going to be the loudest arena maybe in the history of arenas. Like, it's going to be a battle that and I've already seen the narrative start to turn to, like, this is a learning moment for the Spurs, and they'll be back, and they'll be better. And I'm not disagreeing with any of that. But where was all this a week ago when everyone was picking against the New York Knicks?
Well, I think the one thing that people underestimate is just how good the Knicks defense is and how they have gotten into the shorts of Wembanyama. And that's not just Robinson. It's everybody on there. When I look at Wembanyama, too, I don't like his body language right now, to be honest. I just don't like where his head is at right now. Now, of course, he could kind of turn this around. And one question I am wondering, so Mitch Johnson, kind of inexperienced as a head coach, but is he really the head coach here? Meaning, all right, like is this still Pop's team after all? Like, I'd be curious to know, like, what adjustments would you make tonight? In other words, are we just going to do good old-fashioned pick and rolls with San Antonio tonight and just try to work maybe an inside-out game here with Wembanyama? Because any game plan has to be from Victor Wembanyama. But going back to my original point here, I don't know if he's mentally tough enough. I just didn't like his body language there in games 1 and 2.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. To me, it feels very performative, and it feels like I know I've seen people on social media and stuff be like, oh, performative, look at the Knicks, like they're all trying to be Kobe Bryant. And, like, look, first of all, I'm just going to say this. No one hasn't, like, taken over the Mamba mentality like Jalen Brunson since Kobe Bryant. Like, I think that we have seen on the grandest stage of them all. But, yeah, to me, the Spurs kind of feel like they're playing the part that they think they should be playing, right? Like, we just got to play our game. I'm not worried. And it's like, no, they don't know what they don't know. And something I've said, not on air, but to a lot of people watching the games and stuff like that, I think one day Wemby is going to look back, and maybe he won't be embarrassed because this is a learning moment to get him where he wants to be, but he is not going to be like, that's how I should handle it. Let's look at all the great ones, right? Like, there's that moment or moments for them where they have to learn. Like, I go back to LeBron James when he lost with the Cavs and then when he lost with the Heat, and everyone was so anti-LeBron because of largely the way he was acting and handling himself in those moments. And I think Wemby is going to learn from it as well. And look, as Bills fans, we can kind of relate. Like, it's not very often that you just find immediate success, especially in the sport of basketball, but in all sports. And, like, you got to get knocked down a few times before you know what it takes to be a champion. And I just think one of those teams have had that experience, and one of them hasn't. And again, I'm not knocking the Spurs. I think they're extremely talented. I think there's a very good chance the next 5 to 10 years are ran by Wemby and the Spurs in the NBA. But it was something that I thought far too many people were discrediting for this series right now. It felt like everyone just wanted to crown Wemby as the new face of the NBA, the new best player in the world, and they just kind of overlooked the Knicks team that, point blank, I think has been overlooked all year and for years now, despite, in my opinion, being one of the most talented and best teams in the league. And it's not just my opinion. Like, the record, the stats, everything for the last few years indicate that. But for some reason, Knicks for clicks or whatever the reason might be, no one wanted to give this team the credit they deserve.
We're talking to Michael F. Florio, NFL Network, the Sick podcast with Stevie Johnson, and noted New York Knicks fan. Now, if there's something that gives me pause tonight, and when you're talking fantasy, we really don't, dive into, props and lines or anything like that. But this is interesting to me. Like, if you said, oh, should the Knicks be favored? Of course. Why wouldn't they be favored? Line's only at 1.5 tonight? That just looks too good to be true. Is Vegas know something that we don't hear, Mike? Does that give you any pause knowing that the Knicks are, like, you want to bet the Knicks tonight, you're only giving 1.5?
No, in fact, it makes me kind of like them a little bit more because they don't have to cover by it. If they win by 1 point more than they won last game, they cover now, right? And if you remember when I came on I think it was 2 weeks ago now at this point, when we did not know, we knew the Knicks were in the finals. We did not know who they would be meeting against. One thing I said was, I think books have continuously struggled to keep up with this run that the Knicks are on because, yes, like if you go back to January, they're the number one team in the NBA in net rating offensively and defensively. But specifically, if you go back to what clicked for them in this playoffs against the Atlanta Hawks, this is the most dominant playoff run a team has ever been on. Tell me this. Would the 2017 Golden State Warriors be 1.5-point favorites up 2-0 going home? No, they would not be. It would be double digits, as would any other team spread who have done what the Knicks have done in this last 6 weeks now it is. You have to go back almost 2 months for the last time they've lost. You got to go back 3 months for the last time they've lost 4 games. Like, I think it's a couple of different things. And, in fact, I listened to an interview. I'm forgetting the gentleman's name, but he's one of the bookmakers over at DraftKings. And he was on NBA radio last week, so I just caught the interview. And he was like, look, the reasons the Knicks are the underdog is because there's a perception out there that the West is way better than the East. The Spurs have home court advantage, and there's the perception that Wemby is just an unstoppable force that is here to stay. But even that guy was like, matchups-wise, I think the Knicks get the edge. So I still think there's a lot of that thinking in there, right? Like the East isn't tough, the Knicks aren't good, or they're not this good. Wemby's the face of the league, future face of the league, stuff like that. So I think it's all about stuff that doesn't really impact the X's and O's on the floor. And look, I'm happy with the win being a win, but I think anyone watching objectively, unless you are a Spurs fan in Game 2, you could probably admit that the vast majority of calls were going the Spurs' way. The Knicks only shot their first free throws came in the second half, came late in the fourth quarter after they had to challenge a play that was a clear foul on OG Anunoby. So, yeah, everything was going against the Knicks. They were on the road. I felt like it was a very friendly Spurs whistle. The Spurs had all the momentum, and the Knicks still found a way. I feel like today, and the best part, in my opinion, about this Knicks run is you could pinpoint any game, right? Game 3 against the Cavs, games 5 and 6 against the Hawks, games 3 and 4 against Philly, when the whole world said that this team is going to be more desperate and they are going to come out with more energy and just backs against the wall, and this is a game they are going to win. Game 2 against the Spurs. The Knicks have won every single one of those games. And for some reason, they continue to be doubted. And I love it. Like, I have fully reached the point as a Knicks fan where I'm like, you know what? Just keep doubting. Doubt them even when they are hoisting the trophy and say they can't do it again next year. I don't care. I just want it to happen. And it bothered me for a while that they were not getting any respect, but I've just reached the point where I'm like, let them keep proving everyone wrong.
All right, there's one other thing, and I don't know if this is a cause for concern because we're not worried about the Knicks themselves, right? Everybody seems to be healthy in a good spot here, and we've talked about this too. Like, wow, wait till the Spurs actually go back to the Garden and face that fierce crowd. Is this the crowd we've become accustomed to, or is it the crowd that this is the place where wealthy New York goes to see and be seen here tonight? Now the ticket prices have come down here for tonight, but for Game 4, $8,900, the average get-in price here. Is this actually going to feel like what we've come to know as a Knicks home court advantage, or is this going to have more of a Super Bowl feel here tonight, Mike?
My fear is that, but even with it being that, I think it's going to be loud like we have not really heard. I mean, I don't think people outside of New York City fully understand just how much the city loves the Knicks, right? Like, in baseball, the Yankees are more popular, but the Mets hold their own. In football, the Giants are more popular, but the Jets hold their own. Same thing in hockey. The Rangers are the number one team, but the others hold their own. In basketball, it is fully a Knicks town. I know a handful of people who are Nets fans, and numerous of them said, man, I wish I was a Knicks fan right now. Like, everyone is on board with this team. And look, the ticket prices, yes, it's going to keep a lot of regular fans out, but I know people are going to be in there. You're paying that amount of money. You're going to be loud. And obviously there's a whole nother sideshow going on today that I'll look. I'm not going to get into what I feel like on that stuff, but I just wish tonight was about the fans and the players, and there was nothing else going on to take away from the game. But that is not the case. So it might. My fear is that at tip-off, there's still going to be a line of people waiting to get into the arena. But regardless, I expect it to be loud, loud like we haven't heard. This city is so starved for a championship and for this team. And not only that, it's not just, the city would back any Knicks team that went on a run, but specifically this group and how Jalen Brunson has sacrificed to take less money to get this team around him, and how these guys came here when no one wanted to be here and stuff, and just watching it build over time from the ground up, and this team being so likable and everything like that in the eyes of the fans. I expect it to be very, very loud tonight, one way or another, but maybe not as loud as if the ticket prices were a little bit cheaper. But, I mean, outside of the Knicks team, I think the biggest winner of this Knicks playoff run has been the fan base, because for a very long time, Knicks fans were not viewed how I felt like they should have been. Look, I've seen Knicks games where it's the final game in April and the Knicks have been out of the playoffs for 2 months, and they're chanting defense as if it's the Game 7 of the NBA Finals. Like, this is a very loyal fan base, and now they're getting their comeuppance, not only for, paying the prices at the Garden, but you could argue the Knicks haven't played a road game yet in this run because they continue to take over opposing cities and venues and stuff. So shout out to the loyal Knicks fans who have been here since day one and continue to support this team and finally are getting the credit that I think they so longfully have deserved.
Yeah, can I interest you in a trip to San Antonio? $1,700. Like, that's Saturday night, the get-in price for Game 5 in San Antonio. Like, that to me, it's like, all right, I don't know, fly. You could have a quick jump over there, Mike. That's doable, right? Maybe.
I guess I'll put it out here on the airwaves. I've told everyone in my life I'm flying back to New York for if they finish the job. But my wife the other day was like, if it goes 5 games, why don't you book a flight to San Antonio and then to New York? And I was like, you know what? We might have to make that happen. So I'm not confirming that or anything yet, but I will be in some capacity a part of hopefully a Knicks celebration.
Got to ask you one football question: as we're approaching like the summer months, and you start thinking about your draft and some of the scenarios. Finally, we had the trade that had been talked about for months and months and months. What are your thoughts on A.J. Brown in New England? To what degree would that help your fantasy team? How does that all kind of look there, Mike?
I think it had huge implications, even though we've known it's been coming for a while now. For me, A.J. Brown had been going around wide receiver 12, 13, somewhere in the early 3rd round. I think this pushes him back up to an early 2nd-round pick, which people might be like, all right, it pushed him up a round. When we're talking that early in the draft, that is a huge jump. I've pushed him up to wide receiver 7. I've been vocal. I think there's a big 6. The 6, if you want the names, are Chase, Puka, JSN, Amon-Ra St. Brown, C.D. Lamb, and Justin Jefferson. After that, I then think there's a 2nd tier, and it is A.J. Brown and Drake London. I've pushed him ahead of, like, Neighbors and Pickens and Nico Collins. But I also think it impacts Drake May a lot. Like, he's not jumping into my tier 1. Josh Allen is always 1, then Lamar and Jaden Daniels. But I had Drake May in tier 2 with Joe Burrow and Jalen Hurts. And I kind of had him last of that bunch, but now I've pushed him ahead to the top of that list. And I think A.J. Brown, look, maybe last year was the start of a decline at 28 years old and with the knee issue, but more than anything, I think it was a bad scheme fit, and I think Jalen Hurts left a lot of production on the field. And 2 years ago, he was one of the best field stretchers in the league. Last year was his career worst year as a field stretcher. I think that's more on the quarterback. So going to someone like Drake May, who has been the best last year, at least was statistically the best deep ball thrower in football, I think that means great things for A.J. Brown. Plus, I expect the Patriots to involve him a lot more than the Eagles did last year. Like, I don't think you go all in on the guy like A.J. Brown and then don't make him the absolute focal point of your offense. And I'll say this. While I'm still picking the Bills to win the AFC East, and look, they have the highest odds. They're the highest odds to win the AFC. This is more competition than the last 6 years they've had to deal with coming in, which maybe stresses some fans out. But to me, I think it makes it a little bit more fun in the regular season as well.
Michael F. Florio, NFL Network, Rotoballer here on Sirius XM as well, talking some fantasy. And if you want the Nick takes, give him a follow on X as well. Michael, when's the next time we can catch you talking a little fantasy football?
You can catch me tonight on the Insiders on NFL Network. I'll be talking some of the key training camp battles to keep an eye on for a fantasy purpose and what it might mean. And that'll be taking you till about right before tip-off. So, fun day. You'll get to hear me talk some football there. And then please continue to check out the Sick Podcast, Bills Banter, and myself, Stevie Johnson. And we might have some more fun stuff coming down the line. So just keep an eye out on our socials as well. Because, we're getting closer and closer to the season and a lot of fun fantasy stuff, Bill stuff, all of that in mind.
Yeah, just enjoy this run. And, after the Knicks win the championship, we got to do this one more time here tonight. What do you say, bud?
I will come on to talk Knicks. You could ask me to come on every day to talk Knicks, and I would say yes. So I'm down.
Michael, thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. Be well. Enjoy tonight.
Thank you. Go Bills. Go Knicks.
Sounds good. I love that guy.
He's awesome.
He's fired up today. Last call coming up. 585-866-4326. Gene Battaglia here on WGR Rochester.
Spar with Gene Battaglia with you everywhere in the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
Hey, it's Gene Battaglia. Shopping for double pane windows? Well, nothing beats the new Illumilite window upgrade from Window Nation. The new Illumilite windows are designed to offer triple pane performance with the look and weight of double pane. Well, that's because they use Triton Advanced triple pane glass, which means Window Nation's Illumilite windows are more energy efficient. They reduce outside noise by 15% or more, and they offer more glass area than comparable windows. Well, that all adds up to windows that are easier to open, have an unmatched level of clarity, and make your home comfortable year-round. Plus, they're backed by a limited lifetime warranty. And now's the best time to upgrade your Windows homes. Your home's windows. Get that right, Tim. During Window Nation's Buy 4, Get 4 free sale. Imagine replacing all your windows with new Illumilite ones and getting half of them for free. Plus, you can even get them with no money down and no monthly payments or interest for 2 years. Illumilite windows available exclusively from the trusted experts at Window Nation. Schedule your consultation now by calling Window Nation at 866-90-NATION or go to windownation.com.
Are on Rochester Sports Talk. You're in the Sports Bar with Gene Battaglia on the Sports Leader. 95.7 FM and AM 950 WGR, Rochester.
This is a tweet from Matt Schick, ESPN. The judge's decision on Brandon Sorsby is indicative of where we are. We've confused compassion and empathy with excusing behavior. This is what happens when the person who broke the rules is increasingly viewed as the primary victim. Accountability is now cruelty. Embarrassing. Yeah, that's the gist of it there. That, hey, like now you could just find a judge on your favor and get reinstated? Again, I feel sorry that you have this addiction, but those are the rules. And you just can't gamble on your own sport. You just can't. Period. I think we've been over this. I've yet to see the contrarian viewpoint that says, oh, good on this judge. Yeah, we need this kid back in the game. I'm sorry. It's a privilege to play college sports. And the world will go on just fine without you. The NCAA, that's the storyline here today. It's not about Sorsby or Texas Tech football. Maybe to people in Lubbock it is. The story is that the NCAA can't do a damn thing. That for some of the smartest people in the country, supposedly leaders in education, and we're going to put Mark Emmert and all these guys out there, that they had no idea how to manage what was coming down the pike. And now their solution is, help us, Congress, help us. Too late. Sorry. You made this mess. Your problem. I mean, and it's just very simple, right? That's not Sorsby. It could just be player X. There would come a day where something like this would happen, and had you collectively bargained with your athletes, but for so many years you decided not to pay them until NIL came around, and even at that point you just said, let's sit down. We're going to take care of you even more. You should have been out in front of this. Miss any of today's show, boy, great show today. We talked to Red Wings manager Matthew LeCroy back in hour number 1. We also talked just now to Michael Florio, Bills fan, NFL Network fantasy expert, and noted Knick fan. Tomorrow on the show, we'll figure that out here in about 6 minutes. Thanks to Dan DeLorean. Thanks to Tim Schneider. My name is Gene Battaglia. Show for the Bulldog coming your way next year on Rochester Sports Leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, WGR Rochester.